Namaste, everyone. Welcome to the Cārvāka podcast. This is your host, kushalmehra. All right, the time for our personal favorite series, which we were very much looking forward to, is here. And as always, I have Aadit with me to talk about the Border Gavaskar Trophy. Aadit, welcome.
Hey Kushal, मुझे लगा you'll be like our personal favorite podcast where we talk about cricket is here, and मतलब
Yeah,
you talked about that.
I personally I enjoy talking about cricket more than anything. Cricket and martial arts. Yeah, I enjoy that for the most. But my point था कि I so a lot of people talk about the Ashes, etc.,
Hmm.
etc. Okay,
Hmm.
in your opinion, which series is the pinnacle of cricket today? I'm not talking about long term, but today. Is it the Ashes, or is it Border Gavaskar Trophy, or is it India versus Pakistan hypothetically playing Test cricket? That's
No, I mean,
let's start
unfortunately,
there.
India Pakistan Test cricket, whenever the last few times we've played, has produced some very one sided contests. Like they
Yes.
just they've not been very good. There have been good moments in the Test matches. Matlab,
Hmm.
see, I mean, this is something we were chatting offline, and I'm going to talk about. I'm going to preface that first, and then talk about the best series. Any good Test series is only good if both teams are playing at an equal level, or
Yeah.
there is like one very bad conditions or something they're playing which favor the one team, and the other team is so good that the conditions don't matter, and they produce a riveting contest. Unfortunately, any series with Pakistan right lately, they seem to underplay their own potential. Like they have some very
Yeah.
good fast bowling
They
talent,
are
and I
better
would
white ball team than a red ball team right now.
right now, absolutely. And Wasim and Wakar are quaking in their boots as we say it, but that's true. Right. So, which comes up basically to like three or four series that could be the best. One is Australia, England, of course, which is the Ashes. But the problem with the Ashes is it's been one sided throughout. They've only been competitive in England, and that's because Australia has been so good. I'm talking about the last 10 years, right? I mean, of course, 2010 England team was another level, like that crushed Australia in Australia. And but since the whole Mitchell Johnson Ashes very essentially outbounced England in Australia, England has not been able to compete well in Australia. In fact, the 2021 Ashes, if they were led by a different leader except for Joe Root, I think England would have done far better than what they ended up doing, because they had so many moments where they could have swung the Test series one way or the other. That Melbourne was the classic example, where the trail was like 60 runs or something, or 70 runs, and they lost by an innings and 7 runs. It was insane, right? So that's there. Having said all of that, I think the Border Gavaskar Trophy in the past sort of 20 years, especially since 2001, has been the pinnacle of Test match cricket. Now,
क्या
I'm
2005 Ashes
conscious.
को कोई टॉप कर सकता है? Seriously?
2000, no, 2005 Ashes, because you asked me a rivalry, right? So individual series mein I would rate 2005 Ashes very high,
Ashes as
but
the
I'm saying,
best.
yeah, but 2005 के बाद 2006-7 Ashes भी हुई थी where England got walloped 5-0, right? So you can't, and that was only 1.5 years after 2005 Ashes. So England ने consistently इतना dominate किया ही नहीं है Australia को. With India Australia, even though you had, and I'm going to tell you what makes the Border Gavaskar Trophy the best tournament. The 2003 to 2005 period, where India goes to Australia and draws the series 1-all, and Australia comes back to India and wins the series 2-1 in 2004
Hmm.
2005, and they were so freaking dominant that we had to win on a Bunsen burner in Mumbai to have
Mumbai.
some of our, matlab, I agree. Actually,
सचिन और
Chennai
लक्ष्मण
ki
ने
match
सेकंड इनिंग वो 50s मार के लाज रख ली थी और बाद में
50s
मुरली
Maharaj,
कर
exactly. Or I will concede this, that the second Test match we should have won, where Adil Kumble went crazy, and I think we needed 200 to win, or last day pe barish ho gayi. But given how bad we were in that series, in other innings, I don't know. But my point is, because Australia was so competitive in India as well, and India was competitive in Australia, that's why Border Gavaskar Trophy, I would rate it a little higher than the Ashes.
I 100% am in agreement with you, because let us look at the history of the Border Gavaskar Trophy. The first ever one was just a one-off test match in India in 96-97. So usko nahi count kar raha main. But
नहीं
from
वो तो
97-98 right up to
अच्छा
अपना 2021.
हाँ And 98 or 99 nikal do, because 99 India lost very badly in Australia, 98 Australia lost very badly in India. Sachin was of course outstanding, but I'm saying since
नहीं, ऑस्ट्रेलिया एक
2001
टेस्ट
it's
मैच
been.
जीता था इंडिया में 97 98 में.
Ha,
ऑस्ट्रेलिया एक
Bangalore
टेस्ट
mein.
मैच जीता था.
Yes, they did win.
Yes, they
I
won.
agree with
So
that.
India was wide. See, early history of Border Gavaskar क्या था मालूम है? So 97 98 in India था. वो हम लोग 2-1 जीते. फिर 99 2000 in Australia हम 3-0 हारे. Again
Correct.
2000 2001 से is when things change. This is the
Correct.
famous Lakshman Dravid innings का Border
Lakshman Dravid
Gavaskar
innings.
Trophy. ठीक
Absolutely.
है. हम लोग
I have
फर्स्ट
to.
टेस्ट हार गए थे, याद है ना? हम लोग फर्स्ट टेस्ट हारे थे.
फर्स्ट टेस्ट हार गए थे एंड सेकंड टेस्ट में फॉलो ऑन हुआ था. वी वर 128 for 8. Lakshman scores a
Yes.
50 and then there was a follow on and then India then Sachin is out at like 3 or 4 and Ganguly is out and then we were like कि भाई अब तो गए ऑस्ट्रेलिया को 40-50 का टारगेट देके हम लोग हारेंगे. And then Lakshman and Dravid batted and batted and batted and batted and Lakshman scores 281.
Brilliant.
And Rahul Dravid scores 180. That 100 and people forget another thing. Rahul Dravid started that series as number 3. In the third innings of the second test match, he gets dropped to number 6 and Lakshman gets promoted from 6
He
to
was
3.
in a bad patch. I don't know if people remember.
Horrible patch. One of the
he
worst
was in a
patches.
bad patch.
And
like I don't remember Rahul Dravid struggling as a batsman ever, but at that time he was.
No, and you remember his reaction where मतलब उसने बैट ऐसे किया था, हेलमेट ऐसे किया था.
He was angry.
Anger.
Rahul Dravid कभी गुस्से में नहीं दिखता, कभी कुछ नहीं दिखता, मगर उस मैच में दिखा था.
उसके अंदर का कुंबले जाग गया था. मतलब कुंबले I would expect, he's a competitor, fierce competitor. कि अगर मुझे, if you got under my skin, I'm going to come. But Rahul Dravid was this calm, shant banda, and then he just gives it back. So it was amazing. It was, and Ganguly, for better or for worse, brought that emotion out of players.
Yeah. And Ganguly for me is the greatest Indian captain ever. I know Kohli is the most successful Indian captain, and I am not taking credit away from Virat. But Ganguly
you can't,
is my
like
favorite.
our fast bowling attack in that series was Venkatesh Prasad and Zahir Khan. Zahir was the only consistent. I mean, that's how bad our fast bowling attack was in 2001.
Anil Kumble यार Harbhajan. Anil Kumble नहीं था.
No, that's what I'm saying. Kumble was injured. You had 1.5 bowlers with Harbhajan bowling like absolutely crazy. Or wo Harbhajan has never been able to top that. Never.
Yeah.
Like,
यार एक मेरे को एक बात बता, who can top that? उससे 30 के ऊपर
no. That's actually true. That's no, but I'm saying in terms of that domination also, and I think that's also because Kumble and Harbhajan bowling, right? Like they were so good in tandem, but I don't think one of them can top the other. But before we get into 2000, I have a personal story to share on the Border Gavaskar Trophy, or because abhi 1996 mein, when it was being first announced, right? The Australia was coming to play one-off test match. I was actually in Dharamshala, Dalhousie, kuch family vacation, Diwali ka time, October or something like that. I forget, around that time. Anyways, we come back and we are flights out of Delhi. And I was just joking with my dad and ki shayad players mil jaye. So he's like, okay, chalo. And so we were supposed to have this nice meal. And I think we went to the Taj and we're having lunch. And then suddenly as we are walking, the Australian team walks in. Okay. Now this is a very different era. अब थोड़ी सिक्योरिटी होती थी पहले, but as a kid, I was 7 or 8, I think, I remember, I could just approach the players. So I got the autograph book from there. They were kind enough to give, and we talked to, except for Mark Taylor, who was very angry and very red, I remember, because he was go practice. Because everyone, Glenn McGrath, Damien Fleming, they all were there. I think one wasn't there in that series. Brad Hogg, you could sit next to them and do it. And then I'm like, bhai, and then I met Venkat Raghavan, who was the umpire for the test match, right? And then I'm like, agar Indian team aa jaye, abhi to main bol raha hu, and then Sachin walks in, Azhar walks in, Srinath. For a kid who was just starting to watch cricket, this was such a big moment, meeting all your heroes and stuff. I sometimes feel a little sad for kids growing up now that they don't have the chance to do the same. Abhi wo selfies ka itna ho gaya hai, culture. I remember Srinath and Azharuddin were giving interviews to the Indian media, right? And then I didn't know who was ANI or what was that. I come with an autograph book and they're like, hold on, the kid wants to sign. They turn around, they sign the autograph and they give back, right? So ऐसा informal cricket हुआ करता था, and that's the sport we all fell in love with. So anyways, I have this very fond and strong memory for the Border Gavaskar Trophy, so I had to share that.
या बॉर्डर, मैंने एक्चुअली कोई भी टेस्ट मैच नहीं देखा बॉर्डर गावस्कर ट्रॉफी का कभी, जबकि मुंबई वाला मैं देख सकता था, मगर इसके पहले कि मैं सोचता वो मैच देखूं खत्म हो गया था.
And it finished in 2 3/4 days, in spite of 3/4 of the days being rained out. It was that fast. It was complete.
It is insane. But I have met the Indian cricket team को मैं मिला हूँ, मगर Aussie team को मैं नहीं.
But you know what I mean, right? अभी ऐसे मिल ही नहीं सकते आप. You, as a kid, you can't just walk across the hotel floor and just say, "Hey, hello, how are you doing?" and things like that.
Yeah, only if you're staying in the hotel, maybe then you can.
हाँ, मतलब again, this makes us sound like two uncles talking. हमारे ज़माने में ये होता था, but it truly हमारे ज़माने में ये हुआ करता था when we were kids. But back to 2001, that series, right? उसमें the series was so good because Australia was so good. See, people talk about Harbhajan, Lakshman. We forget about Matthew Hayden. How good was Matthew Hayden in that series, man?
How good was he in general? यार क्या आदमी था वो?
No,
he was just bludgeonous.
My dad's friend had
I remember his 200. I remember his 100.
My dad's friend had this very thing. He's like, वो हमारे सामने शूज के नीचे गोंद चिपका के आता है, साला विकेट से हिलता ही नहीं है. That's what he used to say. We just couldn't get him out, man. And the collapses that we were happening, that only were because after or Hayden would get out and so forth. And the first test match was in Mumbai. That was actually Australia versus Sachin. Because India mein no one actually showed up to bat. Sachin scored like 250s and 260s in 2 innings of the test match, and India scored were like 170 and 180. So it was that heavily dominated. Like no one was good. And in that first test match also, Australia gets reduced to 99 for 5 with Rahul Sanghvi and Harbhajan Singh. People must have forgotten who Rahul Sanghvi is. He's that left arm bowler who sits in Mumbai Indians camp now with white hair. Venkatpati Raju. Okay, so this is how crazy it was. Kumble was injured for the series, so they had one replacement spinner for every test match. So they had Rahul Sanghvi for the first, Venkatpati Raju for second, and I think Sairaj Bahutule and Nilesh Kulkarni for the third test match.
Third में थे.
With Narendra Hirwani being the backup.
वो चेन्नई टेस्ट भी, जो थर्ड टेस्ट भी जो हम लोग जीते थे लास्ट में, वो भाई हमारा समीर दिगे और हरभजन सिंह ने जीता.
हरभजन सिंह. Yeah.
No, लास्ट कितना टेंशन हो गई थी, कुछ 150 कुछ रन चाहिए थे जीतने को.
165 we needed, and India is cruising along, and then Lakshman at 65 pulls a ball, and Mark was spread eagle basically on the ground, picks up a catch. It was a blinder, and the best, the crazy, I remember this because Tony Greig was on call, and Tony Greig was amazing. That is another great reason why this series was so good. The commentary in this series was outstanding. Tony Greig, Ravi Shastri, Ian Chappell, they were at their... No, Gavaskar nahi tha, because Gavaskar and Bhogle at that time were contracted with ESPN Star Sports.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, और तब तो इंडिया की मैचेस डीडी प्रसार भारती करती थी ना.
Gavaskar was in the 97-98 BGT.
हाँ, he was जब हर्षा भोगले and Gavaskar
याद है उसका प्रोमो कटा था, उसका और इयन चैपल का प्रोमो था, एक दूसरे का मजाक उड़ाते हुए.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Ian Chappell actually has done more India-Australia series in India than
but I think the one person I miss the most in the commentary box is Ian Chappell, because he was no nonsense. He would speak sense, and it was I used to... Tony Greig exciting tha, so we would always love him. Jeffrey Boycott for just taking a mickey out of everyone. Like who can forget how he said वो जब गौतम गंभीर ने शॉट खेला था.
He's rubbish, ain't it?
No,
he called his dismissal in the first 3 test matches. He's like, I've seen him play almost all of his 50 test matches, and he's great on flat wickets, but he's rubbish when the ball is swinging, and that's exactly what it happened.
So the Jeffrey was fun, but honestly, if you purely as a commentator, for someone who actually looks at the game and analyzes it and just calls balls and strikes, to use a baseball analogy over here, I think it was Ian Chappell. That I have never come across a better commentator than Ian Chappell. The man was just another level. And Gavaskar, personally, मेरे को Gavaskar बहुत अच्छा लगता था. But now I do understand Sunil Gavaskar is now 70 plus. Yeah, so I do understand. I mean, but on the Border Gavaskar Trophy, see why See, a lot of people will be like me, Ashes is better. See, people need to realize. So,
Hmm.
the Ashes was never a competitive affair when England went to Australia
Never.
outside of that one small period of 2008 to 2011 when Andrew Strauss was the captain.
Absolutely.
अदरवाइज और थोड़ा उसके पहले जाओ तो एक बार इयन बोथम गया था, तभी वो लोग जीते थे।
1986.
गावर
1986.
गावर आई थिंक इट वाज डेविड गावर वाज द कैप्टन, या कौन कैप्टन था मुझे याद नहीं है।
हाँ.
Honestly, England has never dominated Australia in Australia in the last 30 years at a serious level. But the Border Gavaskar Trophy has only had one, two, three, four series that, or five series that were a whitewash affair, and that is between the period of 2008-9 to 2014-15. And let me be categorical here. Usme Australia was going through a churn. Why? Uh, Vaughan out, McGrath out, Langer out, and I think Hayden was on his way out. Two, India was going through a major churn. Ganguly had retired. Lakshman, old age. Dravid, almost gone. And
Yeah,
Dravid,
yeah.
I think,
And
10
Tendulkar
11
was
में
also
निकला था.
gone by that
Yeah.
time.
So the point is, ये जो सीरीज में सिर्फ इतना सा लल रहा है, मगर ओवरऑल अगर तू बॉर्डर गावस्कर ट्रॉफी देखेगा ना, तो 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 बार बॉर्डर गावस्कर ट्रॉफी तो बहुत कंपेटिटिव रही है। और अगर माइल्डली कंपेटिटिव को तू अगर कर देगा तो 11 बॉर्डर गावस्कर ट्रॉफी माइल्डली कंपेटिटिव भी रही है, उस मतलब +2, एंड दैट्स अ लॉट ऑफ सीरीज मैन। सो आई थिंक in terms of pure competitiveness, if you calculate the same ashes from 1996 to 2020-21, right? If I was to take out ashes head to head history,
Correct.
अगर मैं निकालूंगा और तू देखेगा ना सेम पीरियड में, अगर आई एम नॉट सेइंग बिकॉज यू कैन ओनली कंपेयर द सेम पीरियड, राइट? यू कैन नॉट कंपेयर टू डिफरेंट पीरियड। सो लेट्स से इफ आई टेक 1996 से एशेस, मतलब ऑस्ट्रेलिया हैज लिटरली डोमिनेटेड।
Yeah, yeah. No, and it's not just dominating the series alone, right? You dominate the moments, you dominate the test matches. ऐसा
कितनी
कोई ऐसा
इंग्लैंड
एक
मालूम है
moment नहीं रहा है।
1996 से लेकर 1997 की एशेस से लेकर 2021-22 की एशेस में अगर तू देखेगा ना, इंग्लैंड 1 2 3 4 5 जीती है एशेस, और ऑस्ट्रेलिया 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 जीती है और 1 ड्रॉन हुई है।
वाओ, मतलब it's just a complete one sided affair in
जबकि
Ashes.
अगर बॉर्डर गावस्कर का तू देखेगा ना, तो 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 इंडिया है, और 1 2 3 4 5 ऑस्ट्रेलिया है और 2 ड्रॉ है। ऑब्वियसली इंडिया ने उनको धोया है लास्ट 2 टाइम ऑस्ट्रेलिया में करके, ये गैप बहुत बढ़ गया। नहीं तो इट वाज नेक टू नेक बिफोर द इंडिया बीटिंग ऑजीज बैक टू बैक।
India has won the last 3, otherwise it was 6-5 essentially.
Yeah,
and
that's what I'm saying. It is the premier product.
It is the premier product. And second thing, I think another thing is because it started from 1996, right? उससे पहले का आप time ले लो 92 and so forth, Australia was dominant, right? So my point is that India also, again, it comes back to the same point. A series can only be the best when the two teams are playing at the best, right? And I think this time we are going to see an exhibition. I think Joe Root was phenomenal, but Steve Smith and Marnus Labuschagne are going to be at another level. It's not that because they are, one is a better player.
Last time Steve Smith was in India, he scored 300s, right?
मैं भूल गया, but yeah, it was some crazy.
First test में 100 था स्पिनिंग ट्रैक पे,
हाँ,
फिर सेकंड टेस्ट में भी शायद उसका 100 था, और थर्ड टेस्ट में भी
और first one was the one that was in Pune, right? I believe the 2016-17 one, if I'm not mistaken, or 17-18, like that's the one we lost pretty badly.
16-17 वाला ना?
हाँ, 16-17, हाँ, वो 7 में जहाँ Steve O'Keefe went a little crazy, वो फरवरी में ही था।
फर्स्ट टेस्ट में उसने विकेट ले ली थी ना?
हाँ, कुछ 12 विकेट लिए थे, ऐसा कुछ something like that. It was crazy. My point is that was one test match where when preparing a Bunsen burner actually backfired for India, because and this time also I firmly believe that Indian batsmen are not very good against spin. You take out Cheteshwar Pujara and to some extent probably I think Shubman Gill or Rohit, we are not very good. Virat Kohli, I'm sorry, he's not the same what he used to be against spin bowling. He's phenomenal against fast bowling, but I've seen him struggle against spinners. and get out to some very ridiculous shots. So this is not. I think if the wicket is going to turn, Nathan Lyon is going to take advantage of us.
Yes, so Steve Smith did score 300s in
Yeah,
the series. फर्स्ट टेस्ट मैच में सेकंड इनिंग्स में, और फिर थर्ड टेस्ट मैच में फर्स्ट इनिंग्स में, और फोर्थ टेस्ट मैच में फर्स्ट इनिंग्स में.
yeah. So I'm saying कि वो हो सकता है. Marnus is excellent. Travis Head is going to be someone to look forward to because Travis Head plays Gilchrist like. वो aggressively खेलता है. And see, that is the difference between Australia and England, right? Why England is doing better now? Because they're playing aggressive cricket. Australia में, that I was the first test match I was talking about in 2001. Australia is 99 for 5. India has 180 or 170 in the first innings. Match is in the balance. Gilchrist comes and smashes almost like a 100 with a strike rate of 80 or something, 80 or 90.
ये मुंबई
In
टेस्ट था ना?
Mumbai Test में 2001 में. And that just basically blew India away. मतलब कुछ पता ही नहीं हो रहा है क्या हो रहा है. Like it was that brilliant. So, और तब Hayden and Slater were the opening batsmen, and then Slater तो ठीक ठाक ही था. अब तो I don't even know, from what the stories I've heard about Michael Slater, I kind of feel sad. I don't know if you're going to see him in the commentary box anytime soon with the whole calls.
Well,
and
he's
stuff
got
like
a
that.
gig in America, na?
Michael Slater, I don't know. I hope so, but he had some issues with domestic stuff and all that. I mean, there was a bunch of stories, like so bad that Harsha actually made about a joke about. I mean, not a joke, but Harsha made a comment about it on Great Cricketer. I had to search. I was like, wow, when if Harsha Bhogle is talking about something, it must be really bad.
No, I think Michael Slater, if I remember correctly, Michael Slater had something to do with American cricket.
नहीं वो तो बैटिंग में बोल रहा हूँ मैं अभी की बात कर रहा हूँ. I was saying we are not
मैं अभी
likely to
बोल
see him
रहा
in the
हूँ.
commentary box anytime soon. That's what I felt.
You know,
I don't know. I mean,
yeah, he could be, but I think he's some director somewhere, and
yeah.
I think he has.
I mean,
Yeah, he was. I mean, from what I
for
know,
his
he's working with the American Cricket Association. He was training there. He was a director or something.
For his sake, I hope everything is sorted out and stuff. He was a decent guy. I liked him, listening to his calls.
All I
in the
remember of
commentary box.
Michael Slater is he used to unusually get out in the 90s. And second, when
Huh.
he took that Rahul Dravid catch, he was yelling at Rahul Dravid in the series.
Correct, absolutely. He was yelling at the umpire, and the whole when the whole Monkey Gate series in 2007 2008 happened, and Tony Gregg and all, they were doing a show that's on YouTube, by the way. I urge everyone to watch it. Tony Gregg, Harsha Bhogle, Michael Slater, and Mark Nicholas, and Tony Gregg actually calls out the Aussies. He's like, "There's not a bloody tea party that's going on the field." He's like, plenty was said from the Australian side as well. And so Michael Slater is like, he asks Michael Slater, he's like, oh, you're being so sanguine. He's like, what happened to you? Why did you take on the umpire in 2001? So Michael Slater is like, oh, there was a lot going on in my personal life. So Tony Gregg goes, do you know what's going on in Harbhajan's personal life or Sachin's personal life? He's like, the Aussies cannot expect doing one thing at one place and then expecting a different reaction at different place. But that is what made the Border Gavaskar Trophy so competitive. The players were giving it their all, like they were giving it their 150%, right? And I mean, Sachin so badly wanted to win. Like, I think if there is one thing that Sachin Tendulkar probably regretted while he retired, is not winning a series in Australia. He really was hoping to win one. And you can have a lot of arguments against Sachin, whatever, I for one believe is the greatest Indian batsman ever, but in Australia, I don't think there has been an Indian batsman that has come even close. Like Virat has come a little closer to Sachin when it comes to Australian test performances. But given how terrible our bowling attack was for the most part when Sachin played in Australia, it is unbelievable. I mean, he's dominated every single series played in Australia, batting for his last one in 2011. Even there, he scored quite heavily with 50s. He didn't get 100, but in 2007-8, 2003-4, 1999 and 1992, Sachin was outstanding. 2003-4, of course, he struggled in the first two matches. The greatest bowler of the world, Steve Buckner, got him out, gave a couple of very questionable decisions. We have to, and I'll tell our viewers, we will talk about that series also. एक बार हम लोग preview कर ले, फिर 2007-8 में क्या हुआ था, we'll have to talk a little bit
by
about
the way,
it.
it's so unfortunate. I just read Slater has manic depression and bipolar disorder. That's terrible.
Yeah, I'm telling you, and not just that. Like, वो तो अभी बात हुई है. Like, there was a police case and all that also. Like, it was
Yeah,
very
yeah, he
sad what
has.
happened to him.
Oh, he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8
Yeah,
arrest and charges.
yeah. So I mean, one just hopes he gets everything sorted and we see him back in the com box and stuff. But
Yeah, it's terrible, यार. बेचारे को मतलब
absolutely,
bipolar disorder है. Anyways, but
huh.
coming to the current series, okay, what do you
Hmm.
make of our dear Ian Healy saying, if India make fair pitches, quote unquote,
You know,
fair pitches.
there is this.
I want to read the exact quote.
हाँ, मतलब मेरे अंदर I am trying to suppress what I really want to say.
नहीं नहीं बड़ा मजा आया मेरे को ये मैंने बोला ये फेयर पिचेस क्या होती है सर
नहीं,
फेयर
there
पिचेस
is
क्या
this
होती है
old there is this old movie called हल्ला बोल with अजय देवगन. उसमें पंकज कपूर एक गुंडा होता है, एक्स गुंडा. तो कोई उसको धमकाता है, राइट? तो पंकज कपूर does, rather than giving it back, gums and says, "Ah, le, beta." That's what I wanted to do to Ian Healy. Like, someone should pull his cheek and be
So
like, "Ah,
quote
beta,
Ian
calm
Healy
down."
said quote if India produces fair wickets
Yeah.
Australia will win the Border Gavaskar Trophy if it's ranked turners India will win अच्छा मेरे को एक बात बता आदित the
हाँ,
last two series India
हाँ.
won in Australia I'm assuming Australia prepared ranked turners in Australia then right
Absolutely. Rank turners where Nathan
ranked
Nile
turners है
couldn't
ना
couldn't get to 400 to save his life. He had to
yeah
wait till the pathetic players of spinners, which is the English cricket team, came to win
yes
to better. So no, I mean, kya bakwas hai, right? This is sour grapes basically.
Gavaskar had to
And
write an article stop the pitch talk
no, that see, that's the
in
vintage
midday
Gavaskar. Midday, when Gavaskar is like, when Gavaskar is playing, that is why I don't know why Gavaskar loved defense so much. Whether it's on the field or off
most
the field,
aggressive
he's only
defense
fun when it most aggressive defensive. And Gavaskar actually said that when he used to bowl, he was the most aggressive bowler, not in pace but in demeanor. So this is Gavaskar over here too. He was no, I think jokes apart. They're just becoming, basically, if Australia loses 4-0, they can blame the pitches, right? The unfortunate part is,
अरे मतलब यार तुम्हारे लिए क्या मतलब मेरे को एक बात बताओ तुम लोग ने शर्म नहीं
hmm,
आती इनको अभी ये लोग ने
forget.
गैबा
That's what I'm
में क्या
saying.
पिच बनाई थी
Gabatoa mein, they made a pitch that lasted for 2 days. 2 days. And with a straight face, they're going to come and lecture us on this, right? So it's stupid. Like, really. One thing I'm disappointed about this series, and we can talk about the playing 11 and everything now, that is that there are no day-night test matches. I really hope that there would be a day-night test match.
पर्सनली मैं बड़ा खुश हूँ डे नाइट नहीं है क्योंकि ऑस्ट्रेलिया हमारी ले डालती थी
तो अच्छा नहीं, I actually wanted that. यार एक बार पता तो चले
क्यों
how India is.
ऐसे ऐसे
नहीं
ऐसे
यार,
क्यों
मजा आता है फिर
हम
सीरीज में देखने.
सारे ऑड्स हमारी तरफ करेंगे हमको वर्ल्ड टेस्ट चैंपियनशिप पे फोकस करना है
That's true. But by the way, I'm going to tell you, if India wins this 4-0, then it will be a rematch in 2 months. India Australia in the World Test Championship, and I
मजा
cannot
आएगा
wait for that. And that will be in England. And if there is one country that hates Australia more than India does, is England. So there's going to be a
पूरा
crowd of
अंग्रेज हमको
30,000
सपोर्ट
में.
करेंगे
हाँ, पूरा जो इंडिया को सपोर्ट कर रहा होगा. So it's going to be amazing because
और
Indians don't
अंग्रेज
travel well when
ऑस्ट्रेलिया
it
हारे
comes to
उसके लिए
testing.
हमारे लिए इंग्लैंड में स्पिनिंग ट्रैक बनाएंगे
तब इयन हिली क्या करेगा तब,
हाँ
बिकॉज उसको तो एशेज में भी जाना है ना. सो
हाँ
तब बट नो.
बाय द वे
सो आई
क्या
थिंक
साल है ना पहले बॉर्डर गावस्कर ट्रॉफी वर्ल्ड टेस्ट चैंपियनशिप और उसके बाद एशेस व्हाट अ ईयर
10 test matches of the highest order that will
ओहो
start from tomorrow all the way till the end of July. एंड बाकी साउथ अफ्रीका, न्यूजीलैंड, पाकिस्तान, वो तो है. इंग्लैंड न्यूजीलैंड भी शुरू हो रहा है बाय द वे, एंड दैट विल बी अ लॉट ऑफ फन टू वॉच एज वेल, बिकॉज इफ इंग्लैंड विल प्ले अग्रेसिव इन न्यूजीलैंड, वो देखने का मजा ही कुछ अलग आएगा. सो इफ बेसिकली फ्रॉम नाउ, फ्रॉम द नेक्स्ट 6 months, अगर आप उठो कोई भी टाइम पे रात को और सोच रहे हो मैं क्या देखूं, कुछ ना कुछ विल बी ऑन. वोंट मैटर व्हाट टाइम जोन. बहुत टाइम के बाद क्रिकेट में ऐसा मौका आया है. And we are forgetting the biggest thing of it all in October, the Cricket World Cup in India. So this is an amazing year for cricket.
What a
What
year
a
of
year.
cricket, boss. What a year.
Yeah. And
First
we
test
should
match
do a plug,
Nagpur में.
and we'll be right here to bring you and discuss
Yes.
all of it right
By
here.
the way, World Cup में तो we'll have to do something special. If I am in America, I might even, if needed, I'll travel to Adit's house or something, and we'll do something special for the World Cup. If I'm in
Absolutely, we'll
America,
do. And if I'm
yeah,
in India, likewise. So, कुछ
yeah.
मतलब
So
definitely
we'll have to do
फिर तो
something special for the World Cup.
if I'm in India during the World Cup, तो stadium में जाके कुछ करेंगे यार.
मजा
That'll be
आएगा,
fun.
मजा आएगा,
हाँ. Anyways,
मजा आएगा.
ख़याली पुलाव नहीं बनाना है
So
अभी.
first
Back
test
to the
match,
11.
first test
हाँ.
match. अरे यार मेरा गला बैठ गया. Oh sorry.
Do you want to
First test
show the
match.
11 first, the playing squads for India and Australia, and then we can
Sure.
go into the test matches?
इंडिया का स्क्वाड निकालता हूं मैं.
हाँ.
इंडिया स्क्वाड फॉर बॉर्डर गावस्कर ट्रॉफी. ये मेरे गले को क्या हो गया? सडनली मेरा गला मूडी हो गया.
We'll have to find a sponsor for a cough drop for Kushal.
नहीं, कॉफ ड्रॉप तो है अभी. आई थिंक आई एम गोइंग टू मैसेज माय वाइफ नाउ टू सेंड मी द कॉफ ड्रॉप right now in the middle of the podcast. I think
Yeah.
it has come to
No,
that point.
while Kushal is pulling up, I want to say I want to
Yeah,
talk
I
about.
pulled it up.
Okay, perfect. The third name in the squad, Ravichandran Ashwin, is terrifying Australia so much that they are practicing with a look-alike. Did you see that video, Kushal? Australia
I
is
did.
practicing with an Ashwin look-alike.
वो
So,
महेश
okay,
something ना, महेश है वो बच्चे का नाम.
So here we are. Here is the squad. Rohit Sharma, KL Rahul. I mean, we've been through this on this podcast. We don't think he should be opening, but I doubt if they're going to look beyond him or not. Personally, I think Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill should be the opening batsmen in the test match. But I don't know if the Indian team is ready
okay,
to
काम
move on.
करो हर आदमी, even live stream पे और आदित्य भी बोलेगा. Tell me your playing 11.
Okay, I'll go first. My playing 11 would be Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill to open the batting. Virat obviously at number 4. Cheteshwar would be at number 3. If you can scroll down for the batting order. So be Cheteshwar Pujara at 3. So Virat and Rohit and Shubman opening. Cheteshwar at 3. Virat at 4. Now the number 5 is very interesting. They have Surya Kumar Yadav. I would pick between Surya Kumar Yadav and Shreyas Iyer, right? So whoever sort of the
श्रेयस तो खेल ही
selectors
नहीं रहा है.
think.
श्रेयस इंजर्ड है.
Okay, Shreyas is injured. Is he okay? Then
Shreyas नहीं है.
I think it will. Then I think it should be Surya Kumar Yadav. Even though I have a feeling that the selectors may go with KL Rahul at 5. Number 6. Then come the last 6, and this is where it gets interesting, right? That should we play an extra batsman or should we play an extra bowler? In my opinion, I don't mind if we are going with an extra batsman at number 6, because we don't need more than 5 bowlers, right? So if you can scroll down again, Kushal. We for number 6, I mean, unfortunately, if they might have to go with KL Rahul, I guess, if Shreyas is injured. So it might be Rahul at 5 and Surya Kumar Yadav at 6.
Rahul is
and
the
then
keeper.
नहीं,
कीपर बैट्समैन करके राहुल खेल सकता है भाई.
हाँ वही. But if we don't want to play, then it will probably be Ishan Kishan is what they're taking for number 6, right? So it will be either KL Rahul or Ishan Kishan.
They will take Ishan Kishan over Bharat.
It should.
मतलब केएस भरत के ऊपर ईशान किशन आएगा.
I mean, personally, if you ask me, my choice would be KS Bharat, but मुझे Indian team पे भरोसा नहीं है. They've done insane things. They've taken 2020 performance biscuit. Okay, chalo, let's forget about who they'll take. Let me name my 11 as I see it, and then we'll see how it goes. So Rohit Sharma, Shubman Gill, Cheteshwar Pujara. 4 is Virat Kohli. 5 is Surya Kumar Yadav. 6 is KS Bharat. 7 is Ravindra Jadeja. 8 is Ravichandran Ashwin. 9 and 10 are Mohammad Shami and Mohammad Siraj, and 11 is Kuldeep Yadav. That would be my 11.
Here's my player 11. I have to make 2 caveats here. If it is a rank turner, then my bowling lineup changes. Only one change. Instead of Akshar Patel, I will pick Kuldeep Yadav. It is a slightly less turning wicket. If it is an absolute turner, I pick Akshar Patel. If it is a slightly better batting track, I take Kuldeep Yadav. बाकी मेरे बॉलर होंगे सिराज, शमी, जडेजा, अश्विन, और ये दोनों में से कोई भी एक ऑप्शन. मेरे ओपनर होंगे रोहित गिल, पुजारा, विराट. उसके बाद अभी आ जाता है प्रॉब्लम कि क्या करें. मेरे हिसाब से मैं केएल राहुल को फर्स्ट टेस्ट में लोअर ऑर्डर में बैटिंग इसके लिए कराऊंगा क्योंकि वनडेज में केएल राहुल एक ही जगह में अच्छा खेलता है, वो है नंबर 5 पे।
नंबर 5 पे, करेक्ट, आई एग्री विद दैट.
तो why not he plays at the, because KL Rahul is not a bad keeper.
He is
Personally, I
no,
would
but
not pick Ishan Kishan because he's a bad wicket keeper. I saw his keeping, I do not like it.
I agree. No, I agree. It should be KS Bharat only. It should be KS Bharat. But KL Rahul cannot keep to spinners, boss. He just cannot in test matches. When देखो इंडिया में when the ball turns in test matches, you need serious skills to keep. और वो नहीं कर सकेगा. But Ishan Kishan, you're right. I mean, this is where of course, we are going to miss Rishabh Pant the most. And I mean, I just hope he's recovering well. But let me ask you, was it worth it to go for Riddhiman Saha again, or India has just moved on beyond Saha?
नहीं यार, आगे बढ़ो यार, वो बंदा 38 39 हो गया, अभी आगे बढ़ो.
हाँ ठीक है, तो केएस भरत,
although रिद्धिमान ने एक सेंचुरी मारी थी लास्ट टाइम जब ऑस्ट्रेलिया इंडिया आई.
अरे not just that यार, he is playing very well in IPL. So here is the irony, the गुजरात टाइटंस के लिए वो ओपनिंग करने वाला है, right? And my point is, when Pant is injured, right, I would personally prefer Saha to be our keeper, Saha or KS Bharat. Ishan Kishan तो मुझे स्क्वाड में ही, I think I'm not sure about it. I don't know why he's in the squad for test matches.
He is in the squad, but I think Bharat is most likely 11 क्या होगी मैं बता सकता हूँ. राहुल, गिल, पुजारा, कोहली, फिर नंबर 5 पे स्काई, नंबर 6 भरत.
रोहित शर्मा कहाँ आएगा?
रोहित मैंने ओपनिंग बोला ना, रोहित गिल.
नहीं, you said राहुल एंड गिल.
हाँ मतलब सॉरी, ओल्ड हैबिट्स डाई हार्ड.
कुशल ने कैप्टन को ड्रॉप कर दिया.
मैंने कैप्टन ही ड्रॉप कर दिया, सत्यानाश. नहीं सॉरी, रोहित, मतलब राहुल वाज नहीं, रोहित था.
रोहित, हाँ.
फिर तेरा 7 8 9 10 11 तो जो मैंने बोले थे वही है.
I think Shami and Siraj have to play. I mean, I just don't see any other bowlers.
अच्छा मेरे को एक बात बताओ, मतलब जयदेव उनटकट ईशांत शर्मा से भी अच्छा हो गया अभी.
अरे ईशांत शर्मा ने कितने और अच्छे, I mean, I have nothing against Unadkat, lovely guy, but how can he be the best test bowler that we have?
भाई ईशांत शर्मा की if not 300 almost 300 टेस्ट मैच विकेट्स है. उसने क्या बिगाड़ा था किसी का भी?
अरे there are so many good Ranji Trophy bowlers यार, young bowlers. Jaydev Unadkat is what, 32, I think he's something like that. Like scroll down, Kushal, I want to see his age. I think he's pretty old as well, like 30s, huh? 31, 87, almost 32. I mean, I don't know. मुझे तो उमेश यादव also, I find him to be very like 35 is, he's going to break down at this time if we keep playing him the way we do, right? So, and he keeps getting injured all the time. But I think Shami and Siraj are the way to go. For simple reason.
नोट किया तूने, ऑस्ट्रेलिया इस बार 18 लोगों को लेके आई है और ज्यादातर 15 से ज्यादा नहीं लाती है.
हाँ मतलब they have learned from us ना, last time 20 को लेके गए थे.
उनकी फटी हुई है, इसके लिए 15 से ज्यादा लाए.
So let's go to the Australian squad ना, देखते हैं अभी ऑस्ट्रेलिया के, और वो मुझे ज्यादा इंटरेस्टिंग लगता है. अपना स्क्वाड तो essentially most of it picks itself. So
कहाँ, मेरे को वापस जाना पड़ेगा, रुक जा.
हाँ, just click on squads again. You'll see ऊपर ही आता है ऑस्ट्रेलिया का. It's a drop down. But ऑस्ट्रेलिया में I think the biggest challenge is going to be who is going to be opening the batting.
नहीं, क्यों? What is the challenge?
They'll put Khwaja back up, Khwaja and Warner again.
Yeah, obviously.
I just don't know if Khwaja is going to be as good in India.
यार, वही आने वाला है, तू लिख के ले ले.
हाँ नहीं मतलब
वार्नर और ख्वाजा ही होने वाले हैं, और कोई नहीं होने वाला.
So then Australia will be Warner, Khwaja, Marnus Labuschagne at 3, Steven Smith at 4, Travis Head at 5, Cam Green at 6.
Yeah.
Right? And then Alex Carey at 7. Carey. And then now Cummins my question is, Cummins at 8. So Hazelwood is injured. So I think it will be Cummins. It will be Mitchell Stark.
नहीं, Mitchell Stark is out of the first test. मैं तेरे को बोल रहा हूँ, ये लड़का खेलने वाला है, लैंस मॉरिस, सुपर फास्ट बॉलर है ये.
Do you think Scott Boland in that squad?
क्या करेगा इंडियन पिच में? स्कॉटी बोलैंड इंडियन पिच में क्या करेगा?
कुछ नहीं.
130 किलोमीटर एन आवर पे बॉलिंग डालने वाला आदमी इंडियन पिच में क्या करेगा? यू नीड पेस.
वो मुझे याद है कि एक दो ऐसे बॉलर्स आए थे ऑस्ट्रेलिया के 130 पे, एंड गौतम गंभीर डाउन द ट्रैक आके मारता था उनको. So
ये बंदा है ना, लैंस मॉरिस, इसको ध्यान देना, ये खेलेगा.
So Lance Morris खेलेगा. If Lance Morris plays, then उसके साथ you'll have
और स्पिनर ये होंगे मिचेल
Pat Cummins,
स्वेप्शन.
Mitch Swepson, and Nathan Lyon.
ये दो तुम्हारे स्पिनर होंगे.
There are other options also they have for spin if you go up.
एगार.
ये Todd Murphy करके है. I
हाँ
think
वो
he's
भी
an
है.
all-rounder. हाँ. And then there is Ashton Agar तो है ही, but I don't think Ashton Agar is going to play unless and until it's an absolute rank turner. So Ashton Agar is the Rakshar Patel type figure. Yeah, Steve O'Keefe type figures, slow left arm orthodox, firing it in. What is interesting is the re-elevation of Steven Smith as the vice captain, right? So life has
Yes.
turned a full circle for him after the sandpaper gate.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So
So,
I
but
think the
you know
first.
whom I'm really looking forward to, Kushal? Cameron Green
Who?
with the reverse swinging old SG ball.
वो बॉलिंग करे तब ना उसकी तो उसकी फिटनेस के ऊपर ही मेरे को डाउट है.
करेगा वो छोटे छोटे स्पेल्स डालेगा, but I'm telling you that he's going to surprise us. Like if he
Because
swings
they
the
don't
ball, if he
need. You know why they'll play two spinners in this series is because Cam Green gives them the third seam option throughout the
Yeah,
series.
correct. But if that's why I'm saying they'll play two. If Cam Green does not, he may be replaced with Ashton Agar as the second spinner with Nathan Lyon, and they'll go with three fast bowlers. But there is one X factor in this series, one X factor, and that is the third Test match in Dharamshala.
वो तो फ्लैट
धर्मशाला में
बैटिंग विकेट होगी, लिख के ले ले में से.
नहीं होगा because
अरे उधर इतनी ठंडी होती है तो उसमें स्पिन कैसे करेगा? देख
स्पिन नहीं
for a
होगी ना,
pitch to
that's what I'm
break
saying.
down. तो वही तो बोल
No,
रहा हूँ,
spin
फ्लैट
नहीं
बैटिंग
होगी.
विकेट होगी, कोई टेंशन नहीं है.
It,
धर्मशाला का टेस्ट
it,
ड्रॉ होने वाला है.
it will swing though. It will swing quite a bit. And
लास्ट टाइम
because
भी धर्मशाला में शायद ड्रॉ हुआ था ना.
I have to look, but we'll have to pull up all the test matches in Dharamsala. But from what I remember, I think the Dharamsala wicket is going to
नहीं,
it's
मैं
not
बॉर्डर
going to be
गावस्कर बोल रहा हूँ. बॉर्डर गावस्कर जो धर्मशाला में हुई थी, शायद वो मैच ड्रॉ हुआ था. लेट मी पुल इट अप. ऑस्ट्रेलिया इन इंडिया. हाँ, लेट मी पुल इट अप. आई थिंक जो फोर्थ टेस्ट था, नहीं, इंडिया जीत गई थी. जो मैच ड्रॉ हुआ था वो हुआ था रांची में ड्रॉ हुआ था.
Correct. हाँ. But I'm saying that it will swing about. It will swing quite a bit. So अभी देखते हैं because time वो है ना कि and of course Nathan Lyle picked up a 5-wicket haul as well at that time, I believe. So
नेथन लायन ने तो 8 विकेटें ली थी एक टेस्ट मैच में.
हाँ वही धर्मशाला में. बट वो मैच हुआ था मार्च एंड में, राइट? मार्च एंड में इंडिया में समर शुरू हो जाती है. This is not going to be that. This is going to be a little sooner. So there is still going to be a little bit of a winter sort of atmosphere वो in that. So Delhi में भी देखने वाली बात है क्या होने वाला है. But धर्मशाला में the match is in 28th February. So I really think that धर्मशाला में Australia has the best chance for Australia is going to be in Delhi and Dharamshala to beat India. But मुझे नहीं लगता कि this is going to be a 4-0 whitewash. No, I just refuse to believe it.
मेरे हिसाब से ऑस्ट्रेलिया का बेस्ट चांस ऑफ विनिंग धर्मशाला है, मगर आई हैव अ फीलिंग 2-1 होगी या 2-0 होगी ये सीरीज.
हाँ, 2-0 or 2-1. That I would agree with because I think एक मैच तो ड्रॉ निकालेंगे. I can assure you अहमदाबाद वाली टेस्ट में रिजल्ट आएगा ही. It won't be the same wicket that वो रात वाला था, but वो इंग्लैंड वाला जो डे नाइट था. But the next test match, which was the fourth test match, which is a very competitive wicket, अहमदाबाद में तो वो होगा ही wicket. So you can be rest assured कि there'll be a very result oriented track there. So मुझे अच्छा, one thing I have to ask you this, Kushal. If
so
this
somebody
is a
has said day night test धर्मशाला में है? I don't think so.
I have not seen this. मतलब मैंने पहला सुना था कि अहमदाबाद has a chance of hosting a day night test match, but मैंने क्रिकबज़ और क्रिकइन्फो पे देखा था the timings are still listed as 9:30 in the morning. So I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong because I want the India Australia test match to be a day night test match. So while Kushal is looking up, we can talk a little bit about that. But Acha, let me tell you this. Is the India-Australia matches, were they made by players or were they made by the spectators or what they wanted? The rivalry, the intensity. Do you think there was because Australia was so good and India aisa tha, they also hyped it up, calling it the final frontier. Shane Warne said that if there is one place where I want to beat India real bad, is in India. And the funniest thing about Shane Warne has played 3 test series in India: 98, 2001 and 2004. He's only played against India in Australia once. So that is why also he was like, like he's played India more in India, and of course the 92 series. So he's played India more in India than he has in Australia. 2003 में he was banned for
So
doping.
apparently people have corrected. They have said no day night test match, क्योंकि मैं भी यहाँ देख रहा हूँ कोई day night test
हाँ,
match नहीं
कोई
है.
डे
So
नाइट
this
नहीं है,
user,
नहीं है,
ये यूजर
एब्सोल्युटली
ने
नहीं.
ऐसी बिना बात की गूगली डाल दी और कंफ्यूज कर दिया मुझे.
हाँ, it was वॉन जैसी गुगली डालनी.
पाप लगेगा ऐसे यूजर्स को.
You sent Kushal on a wild goose chase. He's like,
मैं बोला कौन सा डे नाइट टेस्ट मैच है यार, मैंने कल तो देखा था ये.
नहीं है, day night नहीं है, which is kind of sad. But I have a feeling that if there are matches in Delhi and Nagpur in the winter, which in the next tomorrow they are going to be played in lights on certain days, because bad light will be a factor. So lights में तो होंगे to finish the 90 overs. But what is the X factor, you think? Who is the X factor this time in India and Australia? The one person, the one player.
एक ही एक्स फैक्टर है मेरे पास, उसका स्टैट्स भी रेडी है.
अश्विन.
वो हमेशा से एक्स फैक्टर रहा है, लोगों को रियलाइज नहीं होता है.
रविचंद्रन अश्विन
नहीं, चेतेश्वर पुजारा. वही एक डिफरेंस है, वही एक आदमी है. चेतेश्वर पुजारा is the only batter to score more than 1500 runs and average 50 plus against Australia in test since 2010. और बोलो,
wow,
only एक ही है.
the
He is
goat
the X factor
against Australia.
The only X factor is the great चेतेश्वर पुजारा. मेरे को इतना चिढ़ मचती है जो उसको बीच में एक बार ड्रॉप कर दिया था, बेशरम लोग.
Yeah, they should have dropped just Rahane, and instead they मतलब बेचारे पुजारा को भी बैंड बजा दी पुजारा की. I will tell you, there is another X factor this time for Australia. It's Marnus Labuschagne.
I really doubt it. यार वो इतना नहीं, एक तो है ना उसका, देख लोगों का बैड लक खराब होता है, मार्नस लाबुशेन का गुड लक अच्छा है.
He gets dropped so many times.
जाता है यार, उसका कैच कितना लोग रापते हैं, फिर भी आउट नहीं होता.
नहीं, पर ये है ना कि मैं उसका इंटेंट बहुत सही है. लाइक ही हैज अ वेरी गुड माइंडसेट टू प्ले टेस्ट मैच क्रिकेट, राइट. और सेकंड, उसका वो आउट कब होता था? अगेंस्ट अ फास्ट बाउंसिंग बॉल आउटसाइड द ऑफ स्टंप, राइट. वो उसका that seems to be the weakness. He gets caught in the slips, like first slip, second slip. Spin के against अब देखने वाली बात है कि what he does. But if he comes out firing, fast खेलेगा, he has a lot of potential. He has a lot of. I mean, let's not forget Ricky Ponting, the great Ricky Ponting, played absolutely abysmally in India. Abysmally, like his record in India.
ऐसा था, he was Harbhajan Singh's bunny.
Bunny, quite literally. मतलब
वो आता था और चले जाता था, आता था और चले जाता था.
2001 में I think he had like 6 innings में 9 runs या something. Like it was like one of the worst ever performances by a cricketer ever in 2000. And Ricky, but that one series ensured that Ricky Ponting ultimately, then after he started scoring more, he got promoted to 3 from 6, and फिर वहां से तो मतलब कहाँ ही चला गया वो.
Yeah.
So it is quite interesting. I will say this though, for in Australia's defense or something, कि Australia has come this time to win. Pat Cummins is a great leader. He's not going to make excuses. He's not going to do anything. Or I think he brings out, and especially after what Australia did in Pakistan, I think this will be a far more competitive series than what people think.
No, Australia will play well. I think the X factor for Australia, as always, will be Steven Smith. To be very honest, nothing else. Because अगर Australian batting को तू अगर analyze करे last series में, जब वो लोग इंडिया में थे, Steven Smith, मैं भूल गया था कि साला वो 2020 वाला उसने भी 100 मारा था. वो कौन है वो जो उल्टे शॉट मारता रहता है? मैं नाम भूल गया उसका.
Glenn Maxwell.
हाँ, उसने 100 मारा था. उसका
वो कौन है वो उल्टे शॉट्स मारने वाला?
हाँ,
sorry, that just cracked me up. I was like, this is the most creative description of Glenn Maxwell I've ever heard. वो उल्टा कौन है?
अरे वो ऐसे तो खेलता है और कुछ करता तो है नहीं. तो उसने सेंचुरी मारी थी बाकी एक वो रेनशॉ था ना जो शायद ओपनिंग कर रहा था तभी, 20 साल का
मैट
था सिर्फ
रेनशॉ,
वो।
मैट
मैट
रेनशॉ।
रेनशॉ अच्छा खेला था थोड़ा बहुत।
So, by the way, हम लोग बेस्ट सीरीज की बात कर रहे थे, राइट? आई एम गोना टेक अ लिटिल बिट ऑफ अ diversion here, and then we'll come back to the series. 2007-8 and then the 2008 Kumble retirement series was, I think, the most entertaining 1 year of India Australia cricket ever, right? So
Hmm.
2007-8 was the infamous Monkey Gate series that
Yes.
matlab, I think that 1 year India and Australia played each other like crazy.
Yeah.
2007 mein they played the one day series in India. Uske baad there was a whole Michael Andrew Simon sort of situation, and of course, like the late Andrew Simon's, like what the if the whole racism thing was pathetic, like that what people were chanting in the crowd and so forth. But then what happened in Australia was that Australian teams were saying certain things. Again, one is not condoning what one team said and the other team, but then both have to be punished equally. But what stood out was the pathetic umpiring in that series. My God, it was bad. Like Steve Buckner, there is Steve Buckner that
Steve
is
Buckner
bad.
is the best umpire ever.
Huh.
सचिन का फेवरेट था वो।
Even Sachin took a dig or something like that, or made a joke about him or something. मैं भूल गया. There is a YouTube clip about Sachin Tendulkar and Steve Buckner something, and I'm like, wow, this must have really bothered Sachin. And I remember 2000 2003 में, it started first in 2003 when Brisbane में Jason Gillespie sort of bowled a ball and that was going over like, मतलब अगर 3 स्टंप है उसको आप 6 इंच बढ़ा दोगे ना तो भी उसके ऊपर से बॉल जाएगा. It was that high over the stumps, and Buckner gave him out. And Tony Craig was in the commentary, and he's like, "Oh no, that's a dreadful decision." Like he said this without Hawkeye. Like it just looked not out. Even Shane Warne's like, "How is this out?" And then comes 2008, the India-Australia infamous Sydney Test, where Steve Buckner
Hmm.
refuses to give Andrew Simons when he's nicked the cover of the ball. And then
Oh.
what happened after giving Rahul Dravid out wrong? Saurav Ganguly's catch that Michael Clark claimed a bump ball and no one gave. Ricky Ponting was out a couple of times and they refused to give him out. Ricky Ponting again claimed a bump ball of Dhoni and they were trying to say ki kya hua. So I mean, there were just too many situations that went happen, and the Australians just couldn't take India giving them a good fight in that test match.
It is not just that. For me, the most memorable, so, I wanted to segue into this. Most memorable moments in BGT test match wise, individual test match
Mhm.
wise. Number one has to be Kolkata. Nothing will
Mhm.
ever beat Kolkata.
Yeah,
Number two has to be Gaba and Rishabh Pant. Nothing
yeah.
can beat that as number two.
Mhm.
नंबर 3 में क्या मैं पर्थ बोलूं, जब ईशांत शर्मा ने भी एक बार बहुत अच्छी बॉलिंग की थी पर्थ में, रिकी पॉन्टिंग को वो
Mhm.
एक 9 ओवर की स्पेल डाली थी
Mhm.
उसमें, सहवाग उसको पूछता है डालेगा एक और ओवर, और वो डालता है
Yes.
और फिर वो उसको आउट करता है, ऐसा कुछ था उसमें। वो
Yeah,
एक
yeah, yeah.
है, या अम, 2000
No,
ये
Anil
लास्ट
Kumble
सीरीज में
after
सिडनी
Sydney.
टेस्ट का ड्रॉ।
No. Anil Kumble after Sydney as a captain, where
या
he said only one team is playing in the
इज
spirit of the
प्लेइंग
game and
हीरो
leads
ऑफ द
his
गेम।
troops to win in there. Another thing in that test match. So we talk about commentary all the time here, right, on this podcast about cricket commentary. If there was one, so hamesha pata hai, India when it goes to Australia there were two feeds. One was the Channel 9 feed, which was the local feed, and the second was the ESPN Star feed, where you had Harsha, Sunny and Ravi Shastri and all of them, right? The Ishant Sharma wicket in Perth is the only instance or one of the few instances where both the feeds got it right. Like Harsha had the call on ESPN Star and Bill Lawry had the call on Channel 9. I would urge you guys to find both the calls and just listen to them. It was outstanding. Bill Lawry had his famous, he's got AM, and then he said he was talking about the youngster. He's like, he persevered and he
और
persevered and he
था ही वो
persevered.
यंग। ईशांत कितना था, 20 साल का था ना सिर्फ।
19 years, 19.
वही।
And so he said that, and how Ricky Ponting got out. And Harsha said, he's like, Sehwag said, ek aur dalega. And then he translated the Hindi into English. Both calls are absolutely marvelous. Like,
सी इमेजिन हम लोगों को ये सब चीजें आज भी याद रहती हैं। दीज आर द
हाँ,
मोमेंट्स
ये
ऑफ क्रिकेट
it's
दैट वी
15
रिमेंबर।
years ago, Kushal. मतलब not to age us
हमें आज
again,
भी
but
याद है,
15
कमेंट्री याद है
years
हमको,
ago.
कमेंट्री याद है
Exactly.
हमको।
Commentary दो feed की, not just one feed. No, and but
लोग बोलेंगे
here's
तुम लोग कितने वेले हो साले, कमेंट्री भी बाय हार्ट करते हो।
हाँ मतलब होती है, इतनी बार देखा है हमने. No, but if you see the whole spell of 9 overs, right? I think Ian Chappell or Tony Gregg said it. I think he got Ponting out like 3 or 4 times, like because he had no clue where the ball was swinging. Absolutely no clue. Matlab,
Yeah.
it was and that was the match. That was spell was the match ki kaise, if Ponting would have survived, Australia would have even won the game. But because we got him, it was unbelievable. And ऐसे कितने और moments है, by the way, in Border Gavaskar.
विराट कोहली वर्सेस मिचेल जॉनसन, जब उसने उसके ऊपर
Oh,
बॉल मारा था और जो विराट ने उसको फिर पकड़ के धोया, वो मोमेंट. सचिन, मैं कवर ड्राइव नहीं खेलूंगा अगर ये लोगों को ऐसा है ना, मेरे को कवर ड्राइव पे आउट करना, मैं खेलूंगा ही नहीं सिडनी टेस्ट मैच.
again, no, absolutely, Sydney 2003, 2004, but Virat Kohli
द्राविड
and Mitchell
एडिलेड,
Johnson. Huh,
द्राविड
Virat Kohli
एडिलेड.
and Mitchell Johnson, watch the Channel 9 feed for that again, because again it was MCG, right? And Bill Lawry was commenting, and he kept hitting him. So he's like, this reminds me of David Hook smashing Tony Gregg for 5 fours at the centenary test, but that was rubbish because Tony is his old friend. He's like, this is a true fast bowler, and Virat Kohli was pulling and hooking, and even Rahane bhi josh mein aa gaya tha ki maybe hai, और ठोक रहा था मिचेल जॉनसन को. I mean, it was brilliant. And then there was okay, so this is just Indian style, from India's side, right? Let's also talk a little bit about Australia's side, because again, BGT has been only good because both the teams. So Matthew Hayden in 2001, where he just refused to get out. Adam Gilchrist, where he was. Brett Lee in 1999. I mean, जब इंडिया आई थी, he was bowling so fast कि half our batsmen couldn't even figure out कि बॉल कहां से. MSK प्रसाद का बैट, वो उसका बॉल चला गया स्टंप पे, ऑस्ट्रेलिया ने सेलिब्रेशन शुरू कर दी, उसके बाद नीचे आया था. वो अभी तक नीचे नहीं आया. MSK प्रसाद अभी भी he's still in shock about how he got out.
Yeah.
And so there is that. Damian Fleming का बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग मोमेंट हुआ था. So he picked up a hat trick, and then he got two people out in 2 balls, and the third one, Javagal Srinath gives Shane Warne a straightforward catch and he drops it. And he almost, like, matlab, this was the most heartbreaking moment ever from an Australian perspective when it came to a hat trick from him. And then you have Michael Clark's triple century against India in Australia. I mean, Michael Clark loved, and more than that, his first ever test match 2004 में जो series थी बैंगलोर में,
ऐसे
where
तो
Clark
ऑस्ट्रेलिया के नेवर टॉप द फीलिंग ऑफ बॉलिंग इंडिया आउट फॉर 36. वो उससे बड़ा उनके लिए क्या होगा.
नहीं, पर वो that was a freak show. Like, that was actually a freak. Like, I think this, even Australia admits, देखो, if that 36 resulted in some great victory of the series, yes, but what followed after the 36 was so cataclysmic for sorry, not cataclysmic, but so catastrophic for Australia that they want to forget the whole series. But 2004 Bangalore, where Michael Clark, a young kid, comes and scores century against in a turning track against Anil Kumble and Harbhajan Singh, that was pretty special as well. And then Ricky Ponting, तो मतलब तो वो तो when we were in Australia torment ही करता था, double century and centuries and so forth. So I think from Australia's perspective, those would be the brilliant moments of the Border Gavaskar Trophy.
Yeah. मतलब मेरे लिए और भी थे मोमेंट्स, जैसे अजिंक्य का 100 इन मेलबर्न आफ्टर 36 ऑल आउट. अजिंक्य की कैप्टनसी बहुत अच्छी थी. आई थिंक दैट वाज अजिंक्य राणे's peak moment in his test match career. But I think the superstar of BGT are three from the Indian side. The superstars of Border Gavaskar are number 1 Sachin Tendulkar, number 2 VVS Lakshman. Actually, I would change. Number 1 VVS Lakshman, number 2 Sachin Tendulkar, number 3 Rishabh Pant.
I agree. I would agree. But Rishabh Pant, I don't think has done enough to be number 3 yet.
Yes.
Rishabh Pant's performances have been definitely merit worthy of the top 10. But I think Rishabh Pant still has to do one or two things in series in India. Strangely, he plays better away from India than in India, right?
Yeah.
And I would say Lakshman number 2 and Sachin number 1, for the simple reason Lakshman has the best innings in Border Gavaskar Trophy of 281. That is number 1 by, like, मतलब उसके आगे.
अरे उसकी first 100 in Sydney भाई 167.
नहीं, 167, yes. But I'm saying सचिन का जो परफॉर्मेंस इन ऑस्ट्रेलिया रहा है, राइट? ऑल्सो बाय द वे वी आर फॉरगेटिंग अनदर ब्रिलियंट राहुल द्रविड एंड वीवीएस लक्ष्मण थिंग, 2003 Adelaide, when India
Adelaide.
was 85 for 4 and
Yeah.
just they just went ballistic. So I would say Lakshman and Dravid would share the number one spot if Sachin is number two, because Lakshman and Dravid both individually have given some incredible performances. But एक चीज मैं मानूंगा कि ऑस्ट्रेलिया आता था तो लक्ष्मण यूज्ड टू हिट अनदर गियर. ओ देयर इज अनदर टेस्ट मैच वी फॉरगॉट, लक्ष्मण एंड प्रज्ञान ओझा playing crazy and us winning by 1 wicket in, I think it was in Mohali or something, in 2010 or 12, and India matlab had given up all hopes, and Lakshman coming back and winning crazy with a crazy margin. The only person, and then two honorable mentions here, two honorable mentions. One, Saurav Ganguly's 144 at Brisbane, when everyone
Yes.
said that Ganguly cannot play
Drawn
fast
test match.
bowling. हाँ,
Drawn
drawn
test
test
match, you know.
match.
वो
Drawn
rained out
test
हो गया
match.
था.
हाँ,
ऐसे
absolutely.
तो सहवाग ने भी जो 195 पागल के जैसे लास्ट में सहवाग आउट हो गया, छक्का मार गया वो
No,
साइमन कैटिच को.
हाँ, 195 वो तो brilliant था. But one thing I want to ask our audience as well, right? And you as well. What do you think about Sachin Tendulkar, the bowler in Border Gavaskar Trophy?
इंडिया में उसने अच्छा किया है. उसने शायद कोलकाता टेस्ट मैच में उसने बैक टू
Not
बैक
just
विकेट्स ले ली थी.
3 wickets, 3 wickets.
हाँ.
But another place where we forget is 2003 Adelaide. Agarkar took 6, but Sachin gets out Steve Waugh and Damian Martin with
Yeah.
two absolute peaches. Typical Sachin fashion, turning away and stuff. And I mean, you cannot keep that man out of when he's wearing an India uniform. That is the big call. Again, Eden Gardens, Kolkata. Venkatpati Raju was not bowling that well in the second innings. Yes, he took out Mark Waugh. And Ganguly told Sachin that only 1 over for you, mate, essentially. And he picked up 3 wickets in like 3 or 4 overs of Shane Warne, Adam Gilchrist, and Matthew Hayden. So, like, we have him to thank for that second innings thing where you take out two of the Matthew Hayden and Gilchrist could have affected the outcome of the test match. So it's rather strange, but you have these magic moments. Or Virender Sehwag in Perth, or I forget where in Adelaide, where he bowled Adam Gilchrist around his legs because Anil Kumble told him that's how he got him out in Chennai. So that's what you do: rough ke andar dalo and spin it in, and that's what happened.
Yeah.
So such amazing moments.
But to me, from the Australian side, I think the greatest batting performance was Steve Smith in India on a ranked turner. How the hell did that man score that 100? Yeah.
Oh, you're about to find out. You're about to find out in this season. I predict Steve Smith to score at least. I predict Steve Smith to score at least 100 in this series. At least 100. And second thing, don't doubt him taking the ball in his hand too. People forget he started as a leg spinner who could bat.
Labuschagne is a better fast leg spin bowler.
नहीं, but Steve Smith ने तो Ashes में भी विकेट ले लिया था अभी लास्ट Ashes में विकेट. So you never know when the ball is turning क्या होगा और कौन बॉलिंग.
फुल डिस्क्लोजर, आई क्लियरली रिमेंबर स्टीव स्मिथ को बहुत बार ड्रॉप किया था इंडिया ने, मगर बॉस वो पिच क्या थी, वो पिच में आपको चांस देने ही पड़ेंगे.
या नहीं देखो, luck will happen to players who work hard. It's thing, but you need, Richie Beno used to say that captaincy is 10% skill and 90% luck, but he's like, you need that 10% skill to get that 90% luck. So
yeah,
you need that, but Steve Smith, man, what a player. किसी
ने पूछा, Aadit, do you think India will take over South Africa in beating Australia in Australia?
Oh, absolutely. I think ultimately South Africa team is not what it used to be. Strangely, I don't see India beating South Africa in South Africa that effectively, because abhi bhi when it bounces and swings, Indian batsman ki technique thodi questionable hai. But when it comes to beating Australia in Australia, ho sakta hai. One thing I'll give Australians credit, right? Hum log we'll talk about pitches and stuff. Australia is the only country in the world right now that has wickets that do behave differently. Like Sydney will turn, Melbourne will swing a little bit on day one and then will get better for batting and will turn. Brisbane will be a fast bowler's paradise. right? Adelaide Oval will be a batter's paradise. Perth will bounce. ऐसी अनफॉर्चुनेटली इंडिया में कोई विकेट नहीं है. पहले हुआ करती थी, where Bangalore and Mohali used to be a little bit better for fast bowlers, Chennai used to be for spinners, and then you had Bombay as the more balanced wicket. Ab to yaar, that is gone. So, but it's still not as drastic as Ian Healy says it is, and I hope that we prepare
Yeah,
wickets that
have
last 5
people
days.
realized that maybe overall batting skills have also reduced?
Maybe that's a fair point. That's a fair point.
क्योंकि ये मैच अगर पुराने बैट्समैन होते थे ना तो ये लोग 4-4 दिन ले जाते थे ये मैच को. अभी हमारे
That's
बैट्समैन 4-4 दिन लेके नहीं जा पा रहे हैं मैच को.
Because there is no patience na. देखो पहले होता क्या था, why do we remember these epic spells? Because the batsmen would be like, no, we have to respect the bowler is on a run, we have to respect and go. Abhi they are impatient, they try to hit their way out of trouble. Like and मुझे तो ये मतलब this is such a culture shock for me कि India cannot play spin well. Like मतलब गुस्सा आता है यार इतने बुरे हो गए हम क्या कि we can't even play spin bowling properly.
How do you think Virat Kohli does in this series? 4 test match.
Are you asking me for a hopeful or a real analysis? Hopefully,
I think he'll score 100 in 4 test.
That's my thing. I think he'll score 100, but I see.
But the thing is, अगर उसकी 800 पहले 2 टेस्ट मैच में हो गई ना, फिर वो अगले 2 में पक्का मार लेगा क्योंकि वो कॉन्फिडेंस प्लेयर है. He plays on confidence.
But I don't see him scoring more than 200s. I will be happy to be proven wrong. I will eat crow on this podcast if he scores more than 200. मैं बहुत खुश होऊंगा if I'm wrong, but I don't see him doing that because I think Australia has figured him out.
I think one is most likely, and I think the probabilities of him scoring 100 are very high in the first 2 test matches. I think, because
I don't see him scoring 100. I don't see him scoring 100 on Ahmedabad. That's just going to be a difficult wicket for people to bat on. You'll have to have a freak innings like Rohit Sharma did for you to score. But one thing is for sure, I think if any team plays slow, they're going to be bowled out very easily. They'll have to play positive. I'm not saying mindless aggression, but they'll have to be positive, where they'll have to look to score and then just basically take it down when the bowler is having that moment. But they'll have to keep looking for opportunities to score.
Who is the key player for India in terms of batting in this series according to you? I'll give you my answer. I think it is none other than Cheteshwar Pujara. सारा उसके ऊपर depend करता है.
Two people, Shubman Gill and Cheteshwar Pujara.
Shubman Gill, interesting.
Shubman Gill and Cheteshwar Pujara, because
I think वो Cummins को खेल नहीं पाएगा. मैं तो seriously बोलूं, वो Cummins को खेल नहीं पाएगा.
We'll have to, if he wants to succeed in Indian cricket, he'll have to learn how to do it. If he can't, he'll be dropped in the next series. Quite simple as that. He's gotten a chance and he's looked उसकी technique बहुत सही है. Like I remember Joy Bhattacharya telling about Shubman Gill long back, because he was a KKR player old, कि वो ऐसा बंदा है कि आप बोलो कवर पे बॉल मार, वो लिटरली कवर पे ही मारेगा. राइट, उसकी टेक्निक है टेस्ट मैच की, वो कवर के ऊपर से नहीं मारेगा. Whereas if you tell a T20 प्लेयर के कवर पे मारो, T20 है तो कवर के से ऊपर मारने का ट्राई करेगा. But so that is the Shubman Gill we want in this test match series, and we'll have to see क्या होता है.
See, because why Pujara becomes the most important is by the sheer amount of time he spends on the crease. Because he spends so much time on the crease, everybody else plays around him. अब बैंड ये बज रही है कि लास्ट टाइम तो क्या हो गया था कि ऋषभ पंत आके पागल के जैसे नीचे मार देता है, और ऑफ लेट तो वही हो रहा है, ऋषभ पंत आके मार देता है तो हमारे थोड़े ऐसे रिस्पेक्टेबल रन्स दिखते हैं. पुजारा एक जगह टिका रहता है. मगर सबसे बड़ी एडवांटेज ये है कि अगर जडेजा वापस आ गया है तो जडेजा को इतनी गंदी बैटिंग नहीं कर रहा था. जडेजा बेसिकली था नहीं इतने टाइम से.
बट जडेजा का ये भी है ना कि लॉन्ग टर्म उसका क्या सीन है. आई डोंट नो, राइट. लाइक अल्टीमेटली इल हैव टू बी लाइक अ लिटिल बिट बेटर. लाइक लॉन्ग टर्म हाउ विल ही बाउंस बैक? And I'm not so sure if Jadeja can sustain the momentum he had before he had this injury. Injury का पता है क्या होता है with Jadeja's age, because he's not getting any younger, right? That is another problem that he's going to face. Can he bounce back from the issues that he's facing? वो अभी देखने वाली बात है, basically. That is my sort of take.
सबसे important lower order batsman as always is going to be Ravichandran Ashwin. वो
हाँ.
अगेन इसको सिचुएशन में आएगा और अगेन अश्विन हमको बचाएगा. नाउ
Hmm.
बॉलिंग,
Hmm.
ऑब्वियसली अगर अश्विन अच्छी बॉलिंग नहीं करता है, वी आर गोइंग टू बी इन अ लॉट ऑफ ट्रबल इन दिस सीरीज.
Oh, we're going to be in deep shit, boss. Deep shit. Like there is no मतलब छुपाने का कोई फायदा ही नहीं है. We are going to be मतलब बैंड बज जाएगी अपनी. If Ashwin doesn't bowl well, because quite frankly, Kuldeep Yadav is bowling well, yes, but Kuldeep Yadav is an unproven entity against this new Australia. Okay, Kuldeep Yadav did very good 4 years ago, but ये वाला Australia with with Travis Head in the form that he is, Usman Khwaja, David Warner, how they play, right? They're all left-handed. See, people forget this is probably a very interestingly 3, 4, 5 left-hander Australian team that's coming, right? If Mitchell Stark plays, yeah, and Mitchell Stark is no slouch. वो भी मार सकता है भाई ball. So
हाँ.
you are talking about at least 4 left-handers in a lineup, with Khwaja, Warner, Stark, and Travis Head. So and if Ashton Agar plays, that's 5. So वो कुलदीप को कैसे खेलते हैं वो देखने वाली बात है. एंड ट्रेविस हेड का गेम ऋषभ पंत जैसा हो गया अभी. वो आके
मतलब
ठोकता है.
कुलदीप को बाहर रखने के कारण दो होंगे, एक अक्षर का खुद का रिकॉर्ड इन इंडिया, और दूसरा अक्षर को बैटिंग आती है. मैं तेरे को बोल रहा हूँ, इंडिया अपनी बैटिंग को प्रॉप अप करना चाहती होगी.
हाँ मतलब yes against spin, yeah, but I don't think Akshar Patel is going to be the same as he was against England and New Zealand. I guarantee you, because Australia is not England and New Zealand, and Akshar Patel was what he was in the against old England. Abhi agar England aayega with the way they are playing right now, I think they'll play Akshar a lot better. Like Johnny Bairstow is not going to spend his time poking the ball around. He's going to go and smash him.
यार वो सीरीज में तो उनको कुछ समझ ही नहीं पड़ रहा था क्या करे वो बेचारे, ऐसे उनकी हालत खराब हो गई थी. मेरे को तो
हाँ,
हंसी आ
हर्षा ने
रही थी
बोला
और
था ना कि
तरस भी आ रहा था.
अक्षर was dangerous because in a place where the ball could turn anything, he kept bowling straight arm balls and they were playing for the turn and they're like ये तो सीधा घुस गया.
वही हो रहा था ना. तो वो लोग फ्रस्ट्रेट हो गए थे ना. इवेंचुअली उन लोगों का दिमाग सड़ गया था कि उन लोगों था कि हमारे साथ क्या हो रहा है, ये हमने
But
ऐसा क्या कर दिया है.
I'm going to make this a prediction, Kushal. This is going to rank in the top 5 best Border Gavaskar series of all time. It's going to be that good.
On
This
paper,
comments.
considering the level of the Australian team and all of it, I think it should be a tough series. But I'll be lying if I say I'm not surprised. I'll not be surprised if India whitewashed them.
I won't be surprised, but I'm saying it'll still be
It all
competitive.
depends. But like, you cannot have a more informed Pat Cummins, a more informed Manas Labuschagne, a more informed Travis Head, a more informed Usman Khwaja. They're just at that peak form right now.
Not just that, and as a cricket fan, as an India fan, I want India to win. As a cricket fan, as long as we get into the final of the World Test Championship, I am okay us even winning 2-1, because I want a phenomenal series to take place and not just like a 4-0 where we win by 500 runs every time. Like फिर वो देखने में ही मजा नहीं आता. You and I only will stop watching the 4th Test match. हम लोग बैकग्राउंड में रख के कुछ कर रहे होंगे, because it's no fun. Like if Australia is playing 182 all out in 95 overs, right? It'll be fun if there is a competitive game, and I think they have the skill set to exploit it. Now we have to see how, and for the love of Lord, I hope they have reduced the ticket prices and people are able to go in, and we have packed houses for this game. अगर इस स्टेडियम में 5,000 3,000 लोग ऐसे तालियां बजाते होंगे, that's not going to be fun for the game. You need people to go, and I think it starts from Wednesday, right, if I'm not mistaken, the series. So it's like Thursday. Okay, Thursday. So
9th.
9th. No, so I'm looking, so that's one thing, except for that insanity it starts from Wednesday. It starts from sorry, it is 9th. ये प्रॉब्लम अमेरिका से देखने वालों में से, क्योंकि हमारा 8th नाइट तब चल रहा होगा. So I apologize.
इंडिया में सुबह 10 बजे टेस्ट मैच चालू होगा.
I apologize. Yes. So basically, what Indian BCCI has done, and I have to give them credit. I rarely do, but this is great. The first test match is Thursday to Monday. The second is Friday to Tuesday. The third is Wednesday to Saturday, and the fourth is Thursday to Monday. They have ensured all 4 test matches have a Friday, Saturday, Sunday component to them, so more people can come and watch. ये मतलब बीसीसीआई को मतलब शत शत प्रणाम, बिकॉज दे उनको दौरे पड़ते थे, कभी मंडे टू फ्राइडे वाली टेस्ट मैचेस करते थे, ट्यूसडे टू सैटरडे वाली करती थी. इफ यू वांट टू सेव टेस्ट क्रिकेट, एटलीस्ट गिव द पब्लिक अ चांस टू गो यार. सबके पास टाइम नहीं
Yeah.
होता टू गो ऑन ट्यूसडे एंड वेंसडे. यू
बॉस,
नीड द स्टेडियम्स फुल ऑन
हमारी
सैटरडे एंड
जनरेशन
संडे.
को अगर पूछो, हमारी फॉन्डेस्ट मेमोरीज ऑफ आवर चाइल्डहुड ऑफ वाचिंग क्रिकेट, नॉट दैट वाइट बॉल में नहीं है, मगर हमारी फॉन्डेस्ट मेमोरीज तो रेड बॉल क्रिकेट की ही है.
Absolutely. And it was not easy. My first ever test match that I watched was a Sachin Tendulkar double hundred at Motera in 2002, when he scored 217. Tab we had pavilion tickets. Some किसी की जेब काट ली थी, so we had to use our emergency money and sit in the stands. पर तब ऐसा होता था, and then we saw like almost half the day or something from the stands, and then it just started heating up and we left, because India mein to watch the game was an inhuman experience. Like stands were not covered, and it would be like the seats were not good. Baakde pe baith. Now it's a lot better. 20 years down the lane, and if you are making money from ODIs, T20s, like for the T20s that were played in Ahmedabad, there were 88,000 people, right? They can actually make the test match entry free or reasonable and ensure that 70-80,000 people come every day. And if
बच्चों को
70
एंट्री
80,000
फ्री दे दो ना, कॉलेज का अगर
हाँ,
आईडी कार्ड
कॉलेज
दिखाया
किड्स
तो फ्री दे दो.
को, स्टूडेंट आईडी को कर दो भाई फॉर फ्री. You will not even imagine how it will be, and your kids are being introduced to high quality test match cricket for and creating that atmosphere. तो ज्यादा लोग टीवी पे भी देखेंगे, तो you are going to make the money in revenue. I was like, offer stadiums the deals that if you subsidize them, na, and BCCI can make that money in revenue on TV. So I don't understand why BCCI is not doing what he's doing. इतना पैसा कमा रहे हैं यार, 1200 करोड़ की टीम विमेन आईपीएल में वो सब दे रहे, 700-800 करोड़. You know, you're making the money. Why not help save test cricket that way?
Yeah, I agree with you. And the biggest tragedy in this entire process has always been that, the diminishing crowds in Test cricket. They should make sure that the tickets are free, because they don't realize कि आपको क्रिकेट की अगर क्वालिटी को मेंटेन करना है, आपको टेस्ट मैच क्रिकेट खेलना ही पड़ेगा, नहीं तो आपका वाइट बॉल क्रिकेट का स्तर गिरते जाएगा. लोग ये नहीं
Exactly.
मानते हैं.
Exactly. And actually someone wrote to me, they also wrote in the comments, it's very interesting, जिसके पास Hotstar का subscription है उसको एक दो ticket free दे दो. I was like, that's not a bad option. Local और BCCI should do what NFL does over here, कि अगर आपका stadium 80% full नहीं है, it won't be telecast on local TV. तो जो stadium वाले होते हैं, they only take tickets and sell it for cheap to ensure that they can broadcast for free on TV. So kuch aisa, they'll have to do something. They'll have to come up with a creative solution to ensure that people come.
Yeah, I agree. But overall, before we wrap it up, I think this is going to be, this is the best Test cricket or the game of cricket can offer. Two top quality sides playing. Hopefully, बारिश तो होने नहीं वाली है, कोई भी जगह पे बारिश नहीं लग रही मुझे. Playing top quality cricket for 20 days. The only place where maybe bad light can play a bit of a spoiler is in Dharamshala. और किधर नहीं हो
और
सकता.
दिल्ली.
हाँ, दिल्ली में तो होगा ही होगा, उसमें तो कुछ नहीं कर सकते. दिल्ली में तो होना ही होना है. फिरोज शाह कोटला में तो मतलब वो फेमस है.
उसमें पिच से ज्यादा स्मॉग जिम्मेदार है डिलेट स्टार्ट्स का.
दिल्ली में मेरी ऐसी फीलिंग है, स्टीवन स्मिथ दिल्ली में 100 बनाएगा.
हाँ. He's like, I will find myself a bad air quality challenge also and make 100 in that. That was my not so
वो
subtle
तो वो लोगों
joke.
को आदत हो गई यार, अभी आईपीएल में इतना खेलते हैं, बैड एयर क्वालिटी उनको बॉदर नहीं करती है अभी.
नहीं,
ये लोग
टेस्ट
सब लोग
मैचेस में it does, no, because you have to last for 6 hours, 8 hours. So it does.
वो है.
But it bothers the bowlers more than the batsmen, because fast bowlers को डालनी होती है and stuff like that. But they'll find a way. I mean, those are all jokes and stuff that I'm making. For you are absolutely right कि Delhi and Dharamshala में light may play effect, but Nagpur, Ahmedabad में तो light shouldn't play an issue at
should
all.
not play. Should not.
Yeah. So we should have like 450 overs of cricket in every test match, and even if the light does, I think that there will be result. If there is a draw, which Kushal and I seem to think that ekada draw hoga,
Dharamshala is a draw in my opinion.
No, but that is the only reason for it being a draw, is the skill of batting on display this time.
Yeah.
Like Virat, Labu. This is probably the best batting lineup I've seen in a Border Gavaskar Trophy in a long time, because last time, of course, Virat didn't play the whole tournament just based on skill, right? Usman Khwaja was not he's in the form of his life like Kushal said, David Warner is coming back to the form. So this is probably the best batting lineup I've seen in a long time. Surya Kumar Yadav is in great touch. Who knows if this triggers something in him?
अरे
अच्छा,
कितना प्रॉब्लम होगी अगर स्काई ने रन बना दिए तो बाद में श्रेयस अय्यर बोलेगा मैंने क्या गुनाह किया.
वो छोड़ो भाई, I have to ask you a question, and this is for our viewers as well. Please write this on our comments. What do you think about Sarfaraz Khan not getting a chance?
यार वो योयो टेस्ट नहीं पास करेगा. उसकी तोंद देखी है तूने? उसकी
But
तोंद
do you
देखी है?
think?
देख भाई,
But for
अभी
no,
इंडियन
but
टीम का रूल है, उसको वो रूल करना पड़ेगा. अभी वो कितना भी कर ले बॉस, मगर आई एम सॉरी, ही हैज टू गेट फिट. आई मीन ये क्या लॉजिक है कि भाई मैं फिट नहीं हो रहा हूँ, मैं रन बना रहा हूँ. क्यों नहीं यार, तू रन बनाना, तेरे को कौन रोक रहा है, मगर फिट भी हो ना. योयो
no, I
टेस्ट
know.
फेल होने
So,
वाला है वो.
वो, I think he may have cleared it.
ही हैज. उसकी हाल
I'm
देख
not
के तो नहीं लग रहा वो योयो टेस्ट क्लियर करेगा.
मैंने कहीं पढ़ा था, I may be wrong, right? This may be fake news. I may have read some other place, but I'm saying hypothetically अगर उसने किया होगा, तो there is no reason for him not to exclude it, not to
अगर
include
नहीं
him,
है
right?
तो फिर कोई रीजन नहीं है. then the guy should play. He's a absolute killer. Absolute killer.
That's what I'm saying. So I agree with you. I agree with you
I
that
like the guy. I'm just stating because this
no,
is
you're right.
post
No, you're
Kohli
right.
team India.
There
Yo-yo
is
test
a
pass करना पड़ेगा.
if Ashish Nehra could create pass a yo-yo test at 38, there is no excuse for younger
यार
kids not to
यार
pass a yo-yo test.
आशीष वैसे तो फिट बंदा है यार.
बहुत नहीं, but boss, at 38, like he's very fit, but at 38 to pass the yo-yo test that Yuvraj Singh was struggling to do when he was much younger, right? That's what I'm saying. I'm saying uski fitness utni achhi thi Nehra ki, so youngsters have no excuse if Nehra can get that fit, if that is the thing. And and I actually agree that Ashish was very fit, but he became fit in the later part of his era. Pehle he would also break down quite a bit as a fast bowler.
वो तो उसको ब्रेकडाउन के कारण थे. उसकी फिजियोलॉजी ऐसी थी कि वो ब्रेकडाउन हो रहा था. इनफैक्ट बट इट वाज.
But I've talked to a source I have, and he
Yo-yo
said
test
that
I think is more about strength and conditioning and endurance,
strength and
not about
conditioning. No, endurance and
endurance.
passing
Most basically endurance.
and test match में तो ये. But I'm saying अगर if Sarfaraz does, I think Sarfaraz should have been picked over Surya Kumar Yadav, as much as I love Surya. If he passes the
Probability नहीं है.
fitness.
Probability नहीं है. इंडिया को यहाँ तो इंडिया को क्या करना चाहिए अभी? इंडिया को अपने थोड़े प्लेयर है ना इवेंचुअली अमेरिका में भेज देनी चाहिए. उनको अमेरिकन पासपोर्ट भी मिल जाएंगे. अमेरिका अगर क्रिकेट में आएगा वो क्या करने वाला है? वो सारे जो इधर उधर के प्लेयर है उनको उठा के अमेरिकन सिटीजन बना देगा. बोलेगा लो हमारी बेस्ट टीम हो गई, अब जाओ तुम लोग खेलो.
नहीं, पर I'm saying कि क्रिकेट एक्चुअली ऐसे ही पॉपुलर होगा. As sad as it sounds, how is English Premier League popular? मतलब they don't play just English cricketers, right? वो मतलब सारे फुटबॉलर्स यहीं कहीं से उठा के करते. Cricket at definition is an international sport over a club sport, right? So if you are not going to just have a club format as the primary format, international में यही होगा कि they will go and start hiring players essentially. वो कौन सा है वो Gary Balance, इंग्लैंड का प्लेयर, right? He plays for Zimbabwe now. He's a
अपना
Zimbabwean.
है
So
ना वो कौन है जो तूने मेरे को बोला था ना, वो अंडर 19 जो जीता था.
उन्मुक्त
हाँ
चांद.
वो अमेरिकन हो गया है ना अभी.
हाँ वो अमेरिकन हो गया भाई. So
अच्छा गुड फॉर उन्मुक्त.
गुड फॉर उन्मुक्त, एग्जैक्टली. सो अभी गैरी बैलेंस का मैं देख रहा हूँ, जिम्बाब्वे और वेस्ट इंडीज की टेस्ट मैच चल रही है, एंड ही इज इन द लाइनअप. सो इट्स गोइंग टू बी
जिम्बाब्वे के लिए किसी ने 25 टेस्ट मैच इंग्लैंड के लिए खेला, वो जाके जिम्बाब्वे के लिए डेब्यू किया है, ऐसा कुछ है.
भाई उसी की तो बात कर रहा हूँ. गैरी बैलेंस, ही स्कोर्ड 100 अगेंस्ट इंडिया आल्सो.
हाँ.
सो यॉर्कशायर का कैप्टन था मेरे हिसाब से, आई थिंक. एंड
उसको इतना अच्छा लगा जिम्बाब्वे की, उसका टेस्ट प्लेयर बन गया.
नो आई थिंक वो जिम्बाब्वे का ही था.
तो मगर वो ब्रिटिश पासपोर्ट होल्डर नहीं है क्या?
नहीं ना, आई थिंक हुआ क्या,
अच्छा डुअल पासपोर्ट होगा.
डुअल या ऐसा कुछ होगा. या पहले सो या गैरी बैलेंस वाज बोर्न इन जिम्बाब्वे, एंड अ लॉट ऑफ दिस पीपल आफ्टर वो कोलपैक रूल आया था ना, उसमें दे स्टार्टेड प्लेइंग फॉर इंग्लैंड. देन ब्रेक्सिट हैपेंड एंड बोरिस जॉनसन ने अनविटिंगली अपने कुल्हाड़ी पे पांव मार दिया ऑन स्पोर्ट्स, बिकॉज ऑल दीस प्लेयर्स वर नाउ एलिजिबल टू गो बैक टू देयर कंट्री. सो ड्वेन ओलिवियर वेंट टू साउथ अफ्रीका, गैरी बैलेंस वेंट बैक टू जिम्बाब्वे, a lot of other people did the same thing. So I hope this makes sure that Zimbabwe, South Africa have better squads now.
चलो ओके, अभी लास्ट सेगमेंट.
या
अभी मेरे को बता, who will be the highest wicket taker in the series?
अश्विन.
दोनों साइड्स Ashwin.
Um, before you finish the question, let me give you the answer.
For India and Australia both.
हाँ मतलब क्या है यार अभी
Acha, who will be the highest wicket taker for Australia?
between Pat Cummins and Nathan Lyon.
पैट कमिंस. मैं तेरे को बोल रहा हूँ पैट कमिंस होगा.
Uh,
चारों टेस्ट
Na-
मैच में वो साला बहुत दुखी करने
if
वाला है
with
हमको.
boss with Rishabh Pant out, Nathan Lyon becomes a far more dangerous bowler.
Yeah. So
There is no
um,
bowler, there is no batsman that he is scared of anymore in the Indian lineup.
लायन अच्छा
Unfortunately,
बॉलर है. लायन अच्छा बॉलर है. मगर आई
नहीं
थिंक
पर
पैट कमिंस माइट
पंत उसकी
टेक ओवर.
गेम बिगाड़ देता था ना, अब तो वो भी चला गया ना. So that is the thing. हाँ.
Highest run maker both sides and then India and Australia.
So probably Pujara from India. If he's fit for the whole series, then yes, definitely Pujara. Between Pujara and Kohli, Australia, Steve Smith, no doubt about it.
Steve Smith. I think the whole series का highest run scorer Steve Smith होने वाला है.
Yeah, yeah. Because Manas Labuschagne or Usman Khwaja will challenge him for runs, that spot, but ultimately
मैं एक बहुत
I see.
डेंजरस प्रेडिक्शन दे रहा हूँ. ख्वाजा फेल होने वाला है. ख्वाजा का बजने वाला है बाजा. वो सपाट ऑस्ट्रेलिया की विकेट पे जाके खेलने वाला है. वो इधर नहीं खेलेगा.
I think
नहीं,
Khwaja will
ऑस्ट्रेलिया
do
नहीं,
a
सॉरी,
little
पाकिस्तान की सपाट विकेट पे उसने रन बनाया. इधर नहीं बना पाएगा.
शायद, but I think Khwaja will do a little better. वो 50s मारेगा 2 या 3. Let's see, अभी देखते हैं.
50 मार लेगा.
हाँ,
But let's see.
hundreds तो I don't even expect Warner to score much.
वार्नर कहाँ एशिया में खेला है. वो तो पाकिस्तान में भी साला फेल हो रहा था. इतनी
हाँ.
फ्लैट विकेट पे भी फेल होके आ गया वार्नर.
So and Siraj मतलब है ना outside leg stump seeming into off stump. Warner edgy करने वाला है
आई
वो.
थिंक इंडिया में एक्स फैक्टर इन द एंटायर सीरीज आफ्टर अश्विन अगर कोई होने वाला है वो सिराज होने वाला है.
With the reverse swinging ball and the new ball. Absolutely. I completely agree with you. Completely
एक्स
agree with
फैक्टर
you.
होने वाला है सिराज. चलो, एनीथिंग एल्स? आई थिंक वी हैव कवर्ड प्रीटी मच एवरीथिंग.
Yeah. And, and we'll cover, we'll talk more about the matches once they happen. But truly, I mean, matlab, this is a full 3-course meal that I'm waiting for
Yes.
with, mukhwas at the end. It's going to be that good.
Yes, I thoroughly am. I have not been excited for a cricketing event in a long time, but I'm really excited for this one. So I hope you guys watch Test cricket. Please support Test match cricket. यार, Test match cricket को support करना बहुत जरूरी है. हाँ, मुझे पता है T20 भी है. देख लो. मतलब मैं नहीं देखता हूँ, अलग बात है, मगर देख लो. मगर Test match देखो. This is the real and the most toughest form of the game. इसी में आपकी endurance और skill test होता है. And if you want to see something challenging, you have to watch this format. And there is no better product when it comes to Test match cricket than the Border Gavaskar Trophy.
Truly.
It is the pinnacle of Test match cricket today. So please watch it. छुपके से मोबाइल पे देखना अपने काम से. ईयरफोन लगाना ताकि बॉस को मालूम नहीं पड़े आवाज आ रही है.
या अमेरिका मूव हो जाओ तो रात को आराम से देख सकते हो विदाउट एनी.
Oh yes.
दैट्स माय
Oh
डिनर.
yes.
यहाँ पे आराम
Yes.
से.
आराम से देखो. So as always, Adit, pleasure talking to you, and we will be back next month once the series is in some phase.
Yeah, absolutely. राह देखना हमारी. We'll be back soon before you know it.
Yes, absolutely. All right, guys, we'll wrap today's discussion up. As always, please subscribe to the Cārvāka podcast YouTube channel. Follow Adit and also go subscribe to Mindmakers on YouTube. Like this video, leave your comments, leave your best 11 in the comment section. I want to see, and your predictions. Your prediction first, and then your best 11 for India, playing 11. I want to see what your playing 11 is. I'll go through the comments. And please support this podcast. This podcast is a member-driven podcast. So please become a member if possible. You can become a member on YouTube, on Fanmo, or on Patreon. If you want to buy the podcast merchandise, you can go to kushalmehra.com/shop or Cārvāka, or you can look at the Cārvāka podcast collection on Kadak merch, or you can send your donations at kushalmehra at ICICI. I will see you guys with another podcast very soon. Until then, take care. Bye.